to the Third and Long podcast. We actually have some football to kind of talk about. And yeah, preseason starts this week. As always, I am here with my co-hosts Ollie Butler Henderson and Big Papa P, Mr. Perrins. Shane is probably in a mosh pit somewhere.
No,
So,
undoubtedly in a mosh pit.
How
Shane
are
is,
you boys
Shane,
this
Shane is
week?
potentially unconscious in a mosh pit right now, and not because he's been beaten up, because he's absolutely having the time of his life, and he's just taking a wee snooze in the middle of all the kerfuffle. Love you, Shane.
How are you boys?
I'm top of the morning, mate.
I'm all right. It was a fairly hectic start of the week for me, doing nothing in the 6 weeks holiday. But the last couple of days, once I got over FIFA, once I got over watching YouTube videos, once I got over watching the Pat McCaffrey show and watching That's Good Sports and Drop the Mic and Urinating Tree, just getting myself all pumped up for football again. I'm all ready for this. I'm actually really ready. I'm really looking forward to it.
Which football? Because there's a slightly
Sorry.
normal football. Well, the round football, or there's the proper football.
Bit of a grudge match this week in the round football, isn't it, Ollie?
Yep. North
Cheltenham-
versus South.
Cheltenham Town versus Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah.
Oh God, in the Battle of Mid.
Yep. Oh yes. This is my last show for a couple of weeks. I'm on Hollybobs. So hopefully,
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Harris will be able to control the 49er talk from those two there, which I'm a little bit dubious and concerned about.
Some of us are committed and dialed in on holiday, but some of us aren't.
Right, I did it from an airport in Boston before I flew back, but the fact I'm in the air for both our recordings is a little bit difficult too.
Alcatraz, Florida.
Boston Logan International.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you can buy Wi-Fi on long haul on some flights. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Not with a load. It's gonna be really not. I ain't gonna do it. Do you want a tea or coffee? Yeah, okay. Yeah, carry on.
In the middle of the show.
Say hi to the 15 odd viewers we got watching this time. Yeah. It's gonna be good. It's back tonight, but we've got some other bits and pieces to cover first. When did it? Was it Tuesday? It broke. I think it was. The untold story of Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football.
Yes.
Really good watch. Yeah, really good watch. Mr. Perrins, Big Papa P, you have got some takes, and I think we've all got some takes on this, if I'm honest.
So it was Baby Hope that's told us that it dropped, and I thought I was going to watch it. And I knew it was coming out, but I thought it would be like a Netflix mini series, not like The Last Dance, but like a 2 or 3 episode kind of thing, like they did with like the Aaron Hernandez documentary. I didn't think it would be like a one-off, like an hour. Was it an hour and 12? Like it was
just over an hour.
Just over an hour, and I came out of it wanting to see more because it felt like the last 15 minutes it really rushed to him being essentially booted out of the NFL, and then it was that kind of like, he's in a better place, he's getting treatment, blah, 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 blah. And then it just ended. And it ended with me going, I actually want to know more about him. I want to know more about what he got up to in college, because they addressed it and they went into it, but there was a lot more that they cut out. I would have liked to see what happens once he got cut from Cleveland, because he did bounce around other teams on practice squads, didn't he? Like, he didn't just go to Cleveland. And didn't he do like a tiny, tiny spell in New England? Was he there for like a little bit? Or am I completely...
then he got cut. It was like a Tim Tebow. It was like a Tim Tebow.
Yeah, because I came out of it thinking that maybe, and again, it comes down to that environment, Johnny. And I got the vibe that as soon as he went to college, because everything was stable in his life from middle school, high school, and it's like going to that college. And then I mentioned in our group chat, Cliff Kingsbury. Oh my good God, you can exactly see the type of head coach he is by how Manziel turned out and how Kyler Murray's turned out. He does not manage. He literally had multiple opportunities, and he brings it up himself, but he doesn't actually go in a detrimental way. He dressed like, oh, Johnny would not turn up to practice, or Johnny wouldn't look at the like the film. He would turn up hungover, blah 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 blah. But he was never punished for it. And Johnny would be very open about the fact that, oh, I really love the fame aspect of being a professional athlete, but I didn't want to be the professional athlete. And I'm like, well, you can't have one without the other, especially in the NFL or in college ball. But he was really good at college level, where he could win the Heisman Trophy, and rightfully so that year. But he just didn't have the right people around him, the right coaches around him, to stop him from going off and essentially ruining his career. Because I did think, watching that if he would have been drafted by someone like
New England,
like Bill Belichick, or even in Pittsburgh, or someone with that elder
even Dallas.
Well, not Dallas, but like maybe Pete Carroll. I mean, Pete
Carroll, up in Seattle.
Yeah, I could 100% him. This is our house. This is my rules, my way or the highway. This isn't the college. You don't need to be here. Yes, we've drafted you, but we don't need to keep you. We can cut you. We can get rid of you anytime that we want. And I just think Cleveland was the wrong place, because I don't know if you noticed as well, baby. They cut to Kyle Shanahan a couple of times with the quarterbacks when Manziel was there. I could just go, oh my good God, I could imagine Kyle Shanahan hating working with Manziel because he couldn't micromanage him, because Kyle does like to micromanage. But I just think it's just a sad tale of, I came out of the documentary going, I quite like Johnny, but I also hate him at the same time because of his attitude. And I just wanted to see more. I felt that it rushed towards the end, but I think it's just a cautionary tale. And Johnny could go down as the biggest bust in NFL history. I think Jamarcus Russell has finally been beaten as the biggest bust in NFL.
So in 2014, yeah, I went to America.
Yeah,
and it was.
I watched that draft. I watched the draft. I was. Go on.
It was like July, August time,
Mm-hmm.
and in America, I was on the West Coast. In like every bar and pub and restaurant, they have NFL Network on. And I remember just seeing Johnny Football. It's literally all they talked about. Like Good Morning Football. If I was in there for lunch, Good Morning Football was on. Johnny Football. If I was in there and Pro Football Talk was on, Johnny Football. So this was I kind of watched NFL at this point in 2014, but I was like a lot younger than I am now, so I didn't really follow it as much. But I did keep an eye out for Johnny Manziel because of this. Yeah. Because I'd just been, Johnny Football shoved down my throat at the time. So I sort of tracked him, and I knew a bit of a bust, but watching the documentary, I learned a lot more about why he was, basically a bust.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, Kyle Shanahan didn't put him under wraps. You've kind of hung over, right? You're benched. Because I don't know
how much Kyle would have had, because Kyle was only the quarterbacks coach at that time. But like, you look at like how they
wasn't he?
Was it? I thought he was only quarterbacks coach.
I'm pretty sure that year he was quarterbacks coach.
Yeah.
And then he went up to
I felt that when they went to when he was at Texas A&M, and they did a lot of time with Cliff Kingsbury, and just listening to Cliff going, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he didn't do this, he turned up hungover, he no-showed, all these different things. I'm going, Cliff, why didn't you just rein him in? That would have been the perfect opportunity. And then obviously going to Cleveland, and Cleveland's just a permanent. I mean, we laugh at it now because they've got Deshaun, but Cleveland is just a permanent joke. So going into that environment is completely wrong. You probably would have been better off going to Houston. That you probably would have.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact the NCAA tried to step in.
His mate said he had oil money.
Yeah. And then they're like, okay, we're going to ban you for half a game.
Because there was no evidence. It's silly. Okay, I did say that Texas A&M are the problem here. If Texas A&M have gone, right, you've got to behave or we're cutting you. You're gone.
The coaches at Texas A&M, his agent, who did try to play hardball for him but didn't do it for long enough. His parents tried to help him. Everybody tried to help him. He is the problem.
Oh no, he is the problem. But as they alluded there, at Texas A&M, yes, the coaching system, they didn't actually. I felt watching the documentary they didn't do enough, but they used him to.
He was a cash cow.
It was, and the fact that they were saying about, Johnny Manziel is the reason why we can recruit better professors and better lecturers, and going, Jesus Christ, yeah, they're actually. It sounds really daft, like in this country, and we talk about like the GCSEs, and you've got like a good GCSE outcome, or you've got a good Ofsted. It brings teachers in, and it's kind of the same thing, I guess, where it's gone. We've just got a Heisman Trophy at Texas A&M. Come be our economics teacher. I can honestly see that, but I also felt sorry for Johnny in the way where he wasn't protected enough at college, because they said at one point he had to stop going to classes because he just couldn't get to the classes. People were mugging, like not mugging, but like, going around him, and he was having to do online classes that he probably didn't complete because he's Johnny Manziel. So he was in a situation where he wasn't looked after well. Yes, he made bad mistakes. No one's saying that he isn't responsible, but he wasn't really micromanaged. When you realize after he makes his first, second, third faux pas, you go, someone needs to be on him all the time. That's not his best friend from high school. Someone needs to almost be his PA, whether or not it's a coach or a kit manager, someone that actually holds him to account, that can report back to, the sports director at the college, or the head coach, or his offensive coordinator, or his quarterbacks coach, anything that could have actually kept him on track. But I just didn't think they did. They were happy to make money off of him, but they weren't actually looking at, he's won us a championship, he's got the Heisman, we're making millions and millions of dollars off of his success. Adidas are killing it in terms of all those number 2 jerseys that they sold out of.
Yeah.
But they were happy to let him do all that and make money for them until it became a problem for them, where they couldn't control him, or he was creating too much controversy off the pitch.
It only became a problem once he'd been drafted. But I can't help but thinking maybe an extra year in college would have helped him.
So yeah, he was only at 2 years of college.
Yeah.
One of those years, I won his second year. His number one target was Mike Evans, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane, isn't
it? Yeah. But now, if you look at it, players can't go into the draft until they've been 3 years.
Yeah. You have to have 3 years, don't you now?
So that is a reason why that's happened. He is a reason because of, oh my God, this guy's gone in and literally capitulated. Gone. I mean, I felt, yes, he made mistakes, and yes, he's done it, but he's not anyone going to him, you can't do that. You will be famous purely alone for your football skills alone, and you can do whatever you want because of your football skills alone. You are talented enough. And watching this, I forgot how talented this kid was. You could see it even at high school. He was literally head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, his junior season, or freshman year, in Texas A&M, his stats were ridiculous. Yeah. Off 295 passes, he threw for 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He rushed for over 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns. His second season passing rating was even better. Yes, his rushing was less, but that might be the different type of play calling and all that. But this guy was undoubtedly talented. And if you put 5% in effort into what he obviously did, apart from that night when he absolutely obliterated himself a week before the draft, because his agent said, look, he was superb those 3-4 months up to the draft. After finishing college, he was brilliant. If he had put that work effort into NFL, we would have had a future Hall of Fame on our hands.
Yeah.
Because he was outstanding at college.
Yeah, but if you just look at high school, if you just look at how it ended with Cleveland, that's just like, you don't do that the day before a game.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't think, I know what I'll do. I'll go to Vegas on a Saturday afternoon. I'll go in Vegas Saturday night, and then I'll fly back Sunday morning. Like, you don't do that. And then, so you miss the flight. So your idea is to go out and get drunk again?
Yeah, I mean, that where it goes back from not being going out on a Thursday night or Saturday night or whatever it is, going into practice, turning up hungover, still drunk probably, still probably off his head, face and drugs. and Texas A&M coaching staff going, right, you're benched for this XYZ games. You are now suspended for XYZ games. You are now on your final one. If you do it again, you are cut. You are kicked off this program. I do think if you'd have left Texas, we wouldn't have seen a Johnny Manziel at all, because I think he would have just left football. But I do think if you'd have left Texas and gone somewhere, Michigan or LSU or somewhere like that, and knuckle down, we would have still had the same Johnny Manziel as in football-wise, but we had a different Johnny Manziel personality-wise.
And I've just remembered something that I think it was the agent said, that they had their fourth-string quarterback taking drug tests for Manziel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know. Yeah. I saw that.
Which, I mean, they have a duty of care that they massively shunned at A&M.
Massively. And the fact, but why would his agent go before the draft going, right, we're going to make you drink shed loads, and Johnny was like, I've passed loads of these things, and why is his agent going, I don't give a toss, you're not doing it now, you are taking that drug test, if you come back as it's positive, you're fucked, and let him sink on that, and then he could have ended up still stayed in Texas, because someone would have taken him late on, or as a free agent, he would have been an NFL player. He just wouldn't have got the 15 million for going 22 overall.
He was only in the NFL for 2 years. I mean, I genuinely thought that after he left Cleveland, he did bounce around to a couple of teams, but he got cut long before the season started. But he was only in Cleveland for 2 years.
He played in the CFL, didn't he, for a bit?
Yeah,
he played under Coach Rabel from the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
I mean, it would have been nice if we can actually ask Coach how actually he coached him at in Hamilton. But he was at Hamilton and Montreal for the 2018 series, so he looks like he bounced between the two teams. He got cut from Hamilton and then went Montreal. Then he played in the AAF, where he was coached by ex-49ers head coach Mike Singletary. And since 2021, he's been player coach for the FCF Zappers in the fan-controlled football league.
That's the indoor league, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's been there. Well, he's played there for 2 seasons, and I think he has a bit of a stake in it as well. But took 3 years off after he got booted from Cleveland, really, where he didn't really play professional football at its highest peak. But I still think that he needed handlers. I mean, that's the reason why rock bands have handlers. There's a reason why Messi and Ronaldo have their PAs that do everything for them and look for them. There's a reason why CEOs have their PAs to do menial tasks for them to make sure that they can actually do the job that they're employed and paid to do. I just think a lot of people should have realized that Johnny needed protection, and Johnny wanted the fame but didn't want the football. And I think if somebody would have got to that a little bit quicker, I mean, he probably wouldn't have made his money, but he wouldn't have been in the situation where he alluded to at the end of the documentary. He got himself off his face, got himself drunk, took lots of drugs, and intended to kill himself. He 100% tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
He had a gun. He bought a gun. He knew he was going to use it.
I'm just wondering, do we want to talk about the autograph money side of this or not?
I don't know enough about how the NCAA construct their business about player athletes. Now, obviously, watching things like Blue Mountain State, and they went into a little bit into the documentary. I don't know enough about the topic of athletes not get it or not being allowed to earn money off of their likeness when colleges and professions make hundreds of millions off of them, because the argument is, well, they're on a full scholarship, they're already getting paid in a way through their education and their boarders and everything and all their equipment to be at this establishment. They don't need to make any more money. So I don't really, so I'm basically just trying to get to the point, gents, that I don't really know enough about it to really have a solid comment about it.
So here's what I know. Obviously the NIL deals changed about 2-3 years ago. But back then, like
21 changed.
there was as I was in the documentary, there was a part of the NCAA, and their job was just to find people who paid money, who were paid money. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet, Ollie, but they allude to this on season 5 of All American.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay,
need to watch that.
But that's just coming out ITV Player for anybody that has watched the first 4 seasons. But that their job is to find people, and then if you're found to be making money, you're suspended. Like you can't play.
Phil, your hair looks fine, mate.
I know, but it's going really, really flat. I am listening. I actually am full on listening. I thought that was really interesting that they actually have almost like their own version of the FBI that scour the colleges and go, who's making money when they shouldn't be. Like I thought it was really, really interesting. I'd love to see like a TV show based around that. Like almost called out now.
There you go. You should get your kids to make one. In the media studies.
Oh no! My sixth formers are going to be literally in a way of just making their own horror films this year in year 13. So it's going to be one long production.
Imagine that for your first episode, your first class at your new school.
Yeah, I know. All right, guys, we're just going to watch Johnny Manziel's document. Yes, I know you don't know me, but we're just going to watch this documentary about this athlete. Yes, it's American football. Yes, I'm going to plug the podcast at my new school as well.
You also see on there that there's a little caption on there saying, "Do training camp stats matter?"
Let me just answer that question now.
No.
Exactly. But you see all these things coming around Twitter and Facebook and any other social media going, so-and-so's gone 7-7, has scored 3 touchdowns.
It's because reporters don't have anything else to do at this time.
Well done. But you don't want your defense being scored on 3 times by Danny Jones. You'd rather your defense put up a defense and pick him and be even. So because yes, it's training camp. Yes, it's easy, but you rather see players have great games like the rookies. You want to see the rookies' development. You want to see development. You want to see how the playbook's developing and slotting in new plays. You don't really care about that so-and-so's gone up and down the pitch 5 or 6 times and your defense hasn't been able to stop him.
Something else I don't understand is I'll see like Purdy's gone 7-11, Lance has gone 6-8, Darnold's gone 4-7, and Brandon Allen's gone 0-1. I'm like, yes, but Purdy's against first teamers, Lance is against second teamers, and Darnold's against third teamers. So therefore, Purdy's is the most impressive, even if he's not got the most completions, because he was against the starting defense.
I've got to say this one. We're not going to talk about too much of the 49ers, but like obviously I follow a lot of 49ers beat reporters on Twitter and listen to quite a lot of podcasts as well. And it's so exhausting. I mean, it's not even a quarterback controversy because this isn't Young and Montana. This is literally 2 young quarterbacks and Sam Darnold. And you literally just look at the feeds and go, you see one quarterback that's burying Trey Lance. Sorry, one report that's burying Trey Lance, and another one's burying Brock Purdy, and literally just going, you're talking about the same stats, like you said, like Brock Purdy, he's not like that good, yeah, but he's playing against the best defense in the NFL minus Bosa. Trey Lance has looked good, yeah. Well, Trey Lance is not coming off the back of an arm surgery, off his ACL. He's not got the same, he's not playing against the same, he's not got the same type of injury. I just want both of them to succeed, but it's really exhausting already listening to like the different reporters pick sides and then bury the opposite quarterback going, you're supposed to be supporting the same team. Why are you dividing the fan base when I don't care who's under center as long as they win us a Super Bowl. It could be Trey Lance, it could be Brock Purdy.
Exactly. What you want to see is if someone does a ridiculous catch, like there's been twice that Kazaki's had stupidly wrong-handed catch to the end zone, or that there's connection. Max like connecting with Juju, or Brock's connecting with Ayuk, or Jimmy's connecting with Jacoby Myers. There's these connections that are starting to get. That's what you want to be hearing, not that so and so is outperforming so and so, and someone's doing this and so is. You want to hear the good things and that so and this, or gone Gonzalez like pick Max twice, or he's been the shutout cornerback, or etc., etc., etc. You want to be hearing those kind of things. You don't want to be going, "Oh, well, so and so's better than so and so because he's done this and he's done this." Who gives a flying donkey?
Yeah.
To be fair,
It's
I
all
really
about
don't care.
I mean, I don't really care about like the training stats. I won't even really care about the preseason stats for the games because it is just about trial and error, isn't it? Like I won't really know who's going to be on form for the 49ers until probably the third preseason game, and even then, it's still preseason. You're just treating them like you're just fine tuning. Like that's it's like that when we talk about like our football, like the early preseason games. Do they really mean as much as opening day? I don't think so. I don't think Eric Ten Hag was really that bothered about getting turned over in any of his friendlies because his season starts Monday when he plays Wolverhampton Wanderers, and if they don't beat Wolverhampton Wanderers after everything they've just gone through, that's when I would go, "Ooh, maybe our preseason hasn't quite got that. We tweak a few things," and I'm sure Eddie Howe is probably doing the same, and I'm pretty sure Bolton's manager, I'm presuming he's a man in his 40s and bald. I'm just imagining that's what a Bolton manager looks like.
He's a man in his 40s, but he's not bald.
Oh, yet.
Yeah, Belichick always said he doesn't know his team's identity until week 4 of the regular season.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Just think, at that time, when he said that, this was 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even longer than that. They played 4 preseason games, and then for that, so he'd already played 8 games. With that, you don't really cut down your roster until the 31st of August. I want to say where it goes down from 90 something to 53. So you're not actually going to know your final squad until week 1.
It goes in stages, doesn't it?
Not this year. It's
literally They're just full on cut into the 53.
They're just cutting 30 odd players, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. And that's when you're going to know, as Phil said, you don't really know your starters probably until first quarter of game 3 of the preseason.
Yeah.
And they were only going to play 1 quarter because you're not going to want like a Julian Edelman literally doing a crossing route and snapping his ACL.
Yeah, I mean that's
something like that.
That's the thing about like this weekend. Like, is Mac going to be starting, or is he expected to play this weekend for the Patriots?
Nope.
Well, there we go. Brock's not starting. Kittle's not starting. Jimmy Garoppolo's not even playing. Like,
if you look at last week in the Hall of Fame game, Rodgers didn't suit up. Gardner didn't suit up. Deshaun Watson didn't suit up.
Yeah.
Gardner was actually talking Zach through it as he was going. Right, he was telling him how to dial up. Aaron Rodgers was actually doing a good OC QB coach type role. He was doing really well with that.
You've seen it on Hard Knocks tonight because I've seen it. He has a headset, and at one point he goes, "Throw this to Malik," and then he throws it to Malik for like a 50-yard gain.
Yeah.
But not only that, watching that Hall of Fame game and seeing bits of it, you actually, we commented when he was at New England. He didn't care, not at New England, when they came over here to play at Tottenham. He didn't care. He didn't go through his progressions. Yeah, Zach, he didn't go through his progressions.
Me and you were sat next to each other, weren't we? And we were there just like, he's open. Oh, he's throwing into double coverage.
But watching him last week, he dropped back. He took a couple of extra steps back as well, I noticed, because his drop back was normally 4 steps. But he's now gone 5-6 steps back. And he's going through his progression. So he's giving himself more time. So that's something that Aaron Rodgers took 5 or 6 steps back more to give him more time. Yes, he was really unlucky on his first drive where he spun around and did his normal spin move and slipped. That was really unlucky. But he's going through his progressions now.
Yeah.
And he's taking his time and he's doing that.
There's 4 or 5 times within the first 20 minutes, half an hour of Hard Knocks, which has just started now on Sky Sports, where you can see where Rodgers shows the other 3 QBs something, and you see Zach Wilson. He's properly like watching and asking questions of Rodgers, which is good because he will be the backup QB this year.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
Exactly.
I really hope he succeeds because I really liked him coming out of college.
Yeah.
I was hoping that somebody else was going to go 2 and we were going to take him 3.
So
Then
I mean,
I'm not sure if Lance is better than that.
I'm going to watch it tomorrow. But I'm very openly critical of Aaron Rodgers. I am. I think
He comes
the
across
media.
well.
I was going to say the media perception that I've been given, and even when he's appeared on his mate Pat McCaffrey's show, is that he's very hippie-like. He's very arrogant. He's very me, and that was my worry. Him going to New York because that's going to kind of throw them all out of sync for the next. I think he's got a 3-year contract now.
2 years.
Two. Is it
Still
2?
2 years.
So he's got this year, and then he's got another 2, or is it just 2 overall?
Just 2 overall.
All right.
overall,
So
yeah.
if he's got like that 2 overall contract, right? Wilson's going to be 26 when Aaron's contract's up. He's still going to be prime. Now, let's think about Gino. Gino sat for a long time. Gino's now making the most of it. I'm not going to keep bringing him up, but Steve Young sat behind Joe Montana, and Steve Young did not become a starter until his late 20s, early 30s, when Joe Montana got moved on. So
Let's
maybe
not forget, Aaron Rodgers sat for 2 years.
there we go. Aaron
3
Rodgers
years.
sat behind.
Yeah.
He sat 3 years. He sat a long time behind Brett Favre. Did Tom sit a couple of? I mean, Tom was never expected to play. Let's be honest. But Tom
He sat a
behind
year. He sat a season and a half, and Drew went down in week 3. I want to say.
Didn't Drew go down in preseason?
No, he went down week 1.
He got absolutely leveled by a Jets player. I thought.
Yeah. Was it week 1?
Might
No.
It was
I think
definitely.
it's 3.
I thght it was week 1.
I thought he was very early on in the series, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something 1.
Did he
So I
go
can't
down before
remember.
9/11? I'm because I just remember it. Not necessarily. I remember 9/11, but like, didn't he go down injured and then 9/11 happened not long after
It was
that?
that weekend. It was that weekend he went down.
Tom Brady's debut was 2009. Tom Brady's first start.
Tom Brady did not debut in 2009.
2000.
Impressive.
Sorry, after we said 2009, I went, "There's no way he started."
Brady's first ever start was against the Colts on September 30th, 2001.
So yeah, it was the weekend after 9/11.
So when did Bledsoe go down? If you've got it up, can you just have a quick look to see when Bledsoe went down? Like his injury, because they took a week off after 9/11 because 9/11 happened midweek and they skipped that weekend of football.
Yeah.
Like no games happened that weekend.
Okay, I'm just here it is. Drew Bledsoe, quarterback of the Patriots after Jane. So it was September 23rd, 2001. New York were 10-3 up.
Okay, so it was
absolutely
okay.
obliterated. Yeah, he got absolutely obliterated.
I've watched America's game. I've watched that one quite a lot of times actually because I just think it was just the start of that particular. The Patriots I found became less likable the more they won. But like that first Super Bowl win, that episode is really really good. That 2001 New England Patriots. That was a really really good episode.
Just in case you were wondering, the name of the linebacker that injured Bledsoe was called Mo Lewis.
Yep.
Mo Lewis. It's almost like
that punch in the lung, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you have do you know much about like the Batman, and the person that shot Batman's parents was a guy called Joe Chill, and there's a small comic book series where it's in the future where Joe Chill gets released from prison and all the supervillains find out in this weird way that Joe Chill killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, and because of his actions created Batman, which then created a whole load of mess for like the Riddler and the Joker and Two-Face and Penguin. So all these supervillains team up to try and kill Joe Chill because his one action led to their lives being complete misery. That's almost the same thing with that guy that completely mullered Drew Bledsoe. Like him just making that rough tackle has skewed the NFL and his particular division for 20 years.
Yep. Oh yes. Someone else who's going to dominate the league for the next 20 years is a certain Patrick Mahomes, who has again been voted number 1 player in the NFL by the NFL players.
Do you guys watch the little 3-minute videos they make for each one?
I did. I watched the top 10.
Because I liked the Bosa one where Kittle was just like, I can't remember exactly what Kittle said, but Kittle's just funny, isn't he?
Kittle's amazing. Kittle will become a talking head on either ESPN or CBS or Fox. When he hands up his cleats, he is 100% going to be a color commentator on some of those games because he's just got that charisma. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got more about him than Gronk because Gronk's just party, and I think he's got more of a fun-loving attitude than Kelsey because I think Kittle comes across as more likable than Kelsey. Kelsey is a better player and he gets a lot of headlines, but who am I likely to want to spend more time with, Kelsey or Kittle? I'm going to pick Kittle. I'm like literally always going to pick Kittle.
Of course. It's nice to see Justin Jefferson finally get some recognition.
Yes.
It's also nice to see who's in number 4.
We've just talked about him, so we're ignoring him now.
Let's keep the 49ers talk to a minimum because I keep bringing up Steve Young every week.
There is a couple of shocks in there. I don't think Tyreek Hill is a top 10 player. Josh Allen, he moved up 5 spots somehow to number 8.
He did have a good season. Like I full on was his advocate last year for being MVP. I genuinely thought the Bills were going to go all the way to Super Bowl. I thought Josh Allen was going to win the MVP. And then I just thought that yes, they didn't even get to the championship game. They got to the divisional round, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a very season where he didn't get those MVP numbers, and then they kind of fleeted out anyway towards because they got knocked out by Bengals, didn't they? Was the Bengals? Yeah. I thought, Josh Allen on right of not as he shouldn't be as high as he was given. I'm trying to say.
I also think Micah Parsons was too high.
Really?
I don't think Parsons has had better numbers in different seasons to this one.
This is his second season.
Yeah, and his rookie season was better.
Yeah, he's moved up 7 spots.
He is by far the only person on that Cowboys team that I would fear. Like either on offense and defense. He is the only player on that team that would make me go, ooh. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 49ers always clap the Cowboys. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But he is literally their dynamite. He is literally their
So this guy can Micah Parsons can line up at Mike, Will, and Sam. Linebacker positions across it. He can line up a defensive end. He can find a defensive tackle and still rack up 13 sacks a year with 42 tackles.
Yeah, but last year he was hardly at Mike, Will, or Sam and was pretty much always playing defensive end.
Can I make a controversial comment here? Micah Parsons will be this generation's Lawrence Taylor. He will be this generation's Lawrence Taylor.
You're going to say OC? Not because I want OC to come on. Not because I want OC to come on the show, but I generally think OC is probably one of the best edge rushers, linebackers, that kind of ilk area that I've seen in a long time. And I've seen OC in the flesh.
I'm a big fan of OC. So OC, this isn't. I love you. I love Jay Bell. Like I think you're amazing. But do you not think that OC benefited because he played with Strahan as well?
Most possibly, but
yes,
that's what Lawrence defenses do.
I mean, Lawrence Taylor was just one of his own. Like, I mean, he had people around him, but LT was just enough that you just feared being around. It's like almost like prime Ray Lewis. We're not talking Ray Lewis after when he was carried to the Super Bowl where they beat the 49ers. We're talking about like I've just got away with murder Ray Lewis. That early 2000s Ravens team. You know what I'm saying? I think Parsons is amazing, but I see what you mean about OC, but I'm going to say modern day LT.
I get that. I do think Lawrence Taylor was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to say it's funny that there are 3 players in the top 10 that still haven't been paid this year that should be really.
Yet.
So Nick, Joe, Micah,
Jones. Chris Jones is currently holding out.
Oh yeah. Oh God, I forgot about him. Not getting paid yet. That's mad. I mean, I think before Chris Jones gets paid, you will see a Patrick Mahomes renegotiated contract to free up extra capital.
Bosa needs to get paid soon.
He will.
Yeah,
and he will.
He will. So Chris Jones.
Just saying, Thursday the 10th of August is a great day to play Bosa. And if it doesn't happen there, Friday the 11th of August is a great day to play Bosa. And if it doesn't happen there, Monday the 14th of August, great day to play Bosa.
So going back to Chris Jones, because this one, Patrick Mahomes signed a massive deal 3 years ago, £250 million 10-year deal.
So it's 500
no, 500 million, £500 million
$500
deal,
million.
10-year deal. $250 million.
$500 million.
$500 million, yeah, sorry. You are going to see this guy's contract get renegotiated to extend to or still be around in that league for another 10 years because he loves Kansas. He wants to stay in Kansas. You can tell saw that in quarterback.
You also in quarterback, he's basically built his dream house in Kansas City.
Yeah. His wife does so much for the Kansas City women's football team.
Yeah, they look.
He owns part of the Kansas City Kansas Royals, whatever it's called. He owned part of that team as well.
They love it in Missouri.
They are doing what JJ Watt did in Houston.
Not quite.
To an extent. You will see Patrick Mahomes renegotiate contract to free up capital so he could sign the likes of Chris Jones. You can bring in players, of that Tyreek Hill type thing who should he let go. That's what will happen before Chris Jones gets signed, and that's probably what they're doing in the box because he's not coming out. He's saying he loves Kansas. He wants to stay there as well. He's probably it's them holding on. I don't think it's any more than that.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Burrows deal? Because I thought the whole thing was they went out, they got this stadium sponsorship by Paycor so they could pay Burrow.
Elaborate, because I've not heard this one yet.
So this season, the Jungle changed from the Paul Brown Stadium to Paycor Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mid-season, it sort of flew under the radar. But from what I sort of understood, a lot of people thought, because the Bengals aren't the most well-off team in the world, a lot of people thought they went out and got this sponsorship basically so they could afford to pay Burrow.
Interesting.
I don't know about that.
It still can happen. It will still happen.
It will still happen, but I thought that it was going to happen earlier in the season.
Then he's only going into his fourth year.
Yeah. Then I sort of heard that the Chargers and the Bengals were basically who blinks first because the other person is going to ask for more money.
Oh, all day long.
If I was Joe Burrow, I'd go to the Bengals and be like, look at what Herbert just paid. How many playoff games has he won? How many Super Bowls has he been to?
Yeah, but if Burrow's got paid first and Herbert gone to Chargers going, look what he's just got paid, then he'll get laughed at the bloody office.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Chargers were the ones that blinked first. So now Burrow has the leverage.
Yeah. I think he'll be a top 5 paid quarterback in the league.
I think he'll be a top 1 paid quarterback in the league.
He will do. He is an Ohio boy. He loves that state. From there, born there. He only transferred to LSU because he wanted gain time to get drafted. He wanted to go back to Cincinnati. He wanted to be back in Ohio. He will do whatever that team needs to win them a Super Bowl. If it means not getting massively paid so they can keep the players like Jamar Chase, etc., on getting paid to keep them, he will do that because he is Mr. Ohio, effectively.
I agree. Yeah.
What's
it? In about just under 3 hours, football is finally back.
Just before we go back, I think we need to mention Henry Ruggs.
Oh God! Yeah. I was going to leave that at the end. So is this going to be like the weekly segment on our show where I talk about the dark side of the NFL? Because I know I've got like this week in NFL history wrapped down. But the last couple of weeks, it seems like I've been the bearer of bad news with my joyous northern brightness. If you remember back to earlier on in the season, there was a horrible incident in Vegas where Ruggs whilst driving, not paying attention and being under the influence, I believe, hit another car. The car exploded. A woman and I think a dog died in a huge flame of fire. And he rightfully hasn't played since, because he's been under investigation. It's now gone to court, and it's come out of it now. And this is before plea deals. Okay, this is before the plea deal comes through. Henry Ruggs, for everything that he's done, 3 to 10 years in prison, manslaughter for driving under the influence, recklessly driving and taking a poor young lady's life.
Bear in mind, he was going 156 miles per hour.
Yes. It's recklessness, it's poor decision making that has his actions has led to someone not being on this planet anymore. And it's
family losing. I can't remember if it was family losing someone, and all that. And
you're not just taking one life; you're ruining and altering hundreds of other people's life, from family, loved ones, people they work with, it's friends, just people that knew this person. And hell, let's even be a little bit selfish. Ruggs, you've ruined your own life. You're now being taken away from your family, your loved ones, your career, everything that you worked your way to being in the NFL, being a athlete at the top of the game. Because don't forget, when you think about like all the players that play American football or play in the NFL, it's such a small percentage. It's the smallest of small percentages that actually make it. And he had his opportunity. He was a star player on that Raiders team. And now that's it. He's done. He won't ever be touched again. Even if he only goes away for 3 years, he'll come out still in his 20s. No team will touch him because of what he's done.
What I'd like to is I'd like to read out the statement of the mother of the victim.
Please.
Yep.
So she said, "We pray that." So this was read out in court just before the sentencing. "We pray that Henry Ruggs is blessed with the opportunity to be able to watch his beautiful daughter grow into the amazing woman she can be. And we pray that this terrible accident inspires positive change in the world. We pray that we all take away the importance of looking out for one another, remembering everyone we meet is another human's loved ones."
That is classy.
Yeah.
Very, very classy. I'm going to say this though: if this gentleman was an NFL player, he would not be on this earth for much longer. He would be under that death penalty.
So when this news actually broke about, I think it was about a year and a half ago,
something like that.
I was actually watching NFL Network at the time.
Yeah.
And you could see the shock on the face of the reporter. So I think it was Rap Sheet that reported it, but you could see the shock on the face. And I mean, the fact that O.J. Simpson, of all people, has come out and said that he didn't think this was enough.
Yeah.
Like O.J. Simpson, who allegedly didn't kill his wife.
Baby, the glove didn't fit. Okay, did you not watch the docuseries? The glove didn't fit.
That's why I said allegedly.
It goes back to the Johnny Manziel type thing as well, where the NFL not making players accountable or even college players being made accountable for what they do.
I mean,
that's why was this, Henry Ruggs did no need to speed 150 mile an hour. It was stupid o'clock in the morning, wasn't it? It was
3 a.m.
It was a ridiculous amount of time in the morning. So
the one thing,
but he wasn't intoxicated, was he? He wasn't intoxicated. He was sober.
Under the influence. He was under the influence.
Oh, was it? I thought it wasn't, but yeah.
I want to ask your guys' opinion on Devontae Smith.
Go on.
So Devontae Smith was excused from practice to go to the sentencing of Henry Ruggs.
Mm-hmm.
Discuss. Because I've seen a lot of people saying like, "Oh, Devontae Smith is a true friend." I'm like, yeah.
Yep. Great that he's with his friend.
But
bad judgment. Because
I'm torn because he's being a great friend, going to his friend who's going to have a really traumatizing day. But you need to look at what he does, and should you really be supporting him for what he did.
I think he's trying to be that good friend and not to let him know that, look, we hear about male suicide as a massive thing. It's the biggest killer in men.
Yeah.
Suicide, especially around our ages, under the age of 40 something, because I'm, it's the biggest killer in men. Yeah, I think he's gone there to go, not because he thinks what, it's fine, don't worry about it, blah, blah, whatever. He's gone to go, right, don't think you're alone. Don't think you're alone. I'm here to support you. Yes, you've made a horrid, horrid mistake. The most worst mistake you're ever going to make that anyone could ever make. Just don't think you need to end it. There are people here who will talk to you, and I think that's why he's done it. I don't think he's done it for any other thing. It's just to literally to support this guy.
What I hope he was going to say, like, I'm here for the family. I'm going to look after you guys while he's away, basically. That's what I hope. Because
I mean, we said at the time, Henry Ruggs was such a talented player.
Yeah, the family don't deserve to suffer for what he did.
Agreed.
His family.
No, agreed.
I think he has a kid and a wife.
He's definitely got a daughter. I know that.
Yeah. Anyway, on to preseason.
Oh, yes, it starts in about 3 hours. No, 2 hours and 20 minutes, 40 minutes. So we're going to go and see. Yes, we're going to see Bryce. Yes, we're going to see CJ and AR, Anthony Richardson, covering his name there, tonight or this weekend. We aren't going to see many of the starters from last season, like the Mahomes, the Judes, the Bosas, etc., etc. But it's good. It is proper football. It's proper hit football.
And just in case you guys were wondering which game to watch, Titan versus Bears, 6 p.m. on Saturday night, is on Sky Sports.
Nice.
There is a game afterwards at 9 o'clock, and I can't think who it is.
To be fair, Saturday is going to be like a genuinely huge day, because you've got the Women's World Cup. England play Colombia, and then you've got like Premier League season starts, and then as soon as that happens, Newcastle play Villa in the evening games, and then we've got all the preseason games in the NFL. It's going to be a big weekend.
And then you got the Joshua fight.
Yeah, well, I was invested in the Joshua fight last weekend. I'm not so much now.
Well, no, it's not right anymore.
I mean, what do people get from preseason games? Obviously, we know what the teams get, but what do us as fans get?
It's like a jerking of the. Go on.
So last season, Niners' first preseason game was against Green Bay. And I watched the first half before I went to bed. And so I watched Trey Lance versus Jordan Love. Do you know who I thought was better between the two?
Jordan
Love. So I'm excited. From what I saw last season in preseason, I'm excited to see Jordan Love play this season. Because he looked, I'm going to say serviceable. He looked serviceable.
It's kind of like having a preview, isn't it? Like when you go to the cinema, or when you go to like that opening night, or you get preview screenings, or preview showings at the theater and the cinema, where you see this is what it's going to look like when the season starts. Come and have a look at our trailer. Come and have a look at our preview show. Come and look at us do like a small set of some of our songs on our new album. That's kind of what it feels like, isn't it? It's also getting fans back into the stadium. It's getting them used to that routine of tailgating, tickets, just getting them back into that, just getting them back into it. One thing I am a little bit, I don't know how much the NFL controls this, and you gents might know more than me, but I'm just looking on the ESPN website at the moment, looking at all the preseason games. And if you look on where it's got like the NFL preseason schedule, it tells you the matches, it tells you what time, it tells you what TV stations you can watch it from, it tells you the locations. Then it tells you the cost of prices for the tickets.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention this too.
So, do you know? And Shane, not Shane, Ollie, you might know.
$7.
You might know this. So just looking at some of these games, like you're just going like, I can go and watch I can go and watch Washington versus Cleveland and rightfully only pay $5. I can go watch Atlanta versus Miami, pay $6. And when you go like, oh, Eagles versus Ravens, 37. Oh, that's a little bit pricey, but okay. And you go all the way to the bottom, which is the last game of preseason week 1. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. It's $75 for the cheapest ticket. That's
Really?
ridiculous.
I read earlier that the cheapest dollar was 120 tickets.
Well, what I've got here, tickets as low as $75, and I'm going. The reigning Super Bowl champions are playing New Orleans, and they're only charging $7.
Bear in mind, when I read the $120 that is more expensive than half of the week 1 games.
Combined, yeah, probably.
I mean,
it's going to be quite.
I'm going to talk about nice sport, but the New York Mets were playing at home 7 times in a week, and you go and watch all 7 games for $25.
Yeah.
So that is that's 7 games of baseball for $25. A baseball game takes about as long as a football game, ish.
I thought baseball was longer.
It depends.
I think it was about 6 hours for baseball.
No, it's about 3.5. I've been to enough baseball games. But my point is $25 for 7 baseball games to go and watch a preseason game where the starters aren't playing is $75.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And these baseball games, they weren't preseason; they were actual games that matter. I know there's 182 games in the baseball season, but still, they kind of matter.
I hope the fact that Ford Field's going to be all cleaned up after last weekend's SummerSlam.
Well, Wembley Stadium's getting ready for the end of the month, so that's exciting to get
to. Which game, you're not allowed to say 49ers, are you most excited for?
Colts Bills.
What about the Battle of LA? There's a film in there, wasn't there? Was that an incident that happened in the 40s where they thought aliens were invading?
The
battle for Los Angeles.
Can we not get into American aliens right now, please?
It's going to be quite nice for LA Chargers to play in their home stadium to have a half full stadium.
I'm going to say Colt Bills, just because I'm really excited about AR, and I'm a bit giddy about it. But I'm really excited about watching AR play. I feel like his athleticism is another level. And yes, I know I picked him for offensive rookie of the year, and I'm excited to see him play.
Obviously, I want to see Zay Flowers play ball out for Baltimore.
Is he going to play?
Most rookies do play in this one, don't they? Do give him some time out there. Love to see Will Levis absolutely rip up Chicago tomorrow, and Malik Willis going, oh crap, my work's done. Malik Willis thinking, oh crap, my work's done.
Have you been reading Titans beat writers though?
No.
Malik Willis has been impressing at camp. He's
QB2. That's the Malik Willis camp and the Will Levis camp again, isn't it?
He's QB2 at the moment.
Yeah, it's only because he's second year. There's so many rookies I want to see that, the wide receiver class. I really want to see this wide receiver class from this year because it is ridiculous from the draft. Cleveland, Cleveland always interesting to watch because it's Cleveland and they're either going to be spectacularly good or spectacularly bad.
I do really like is it Dorian Finney-Smith? Dorian Finney-Robinson?
Yeah.
The QB.
Apparently, Cowboys scout son, Juice Vaughn, he's only 5'5". He's getting first team reps and is ripping players apart.
Yeah, but that's just because Tony Pollard's still injured.
True, but the fact he's taking first team reps and he's putting moves on these players. He's 5'5", crying out loud. It's a great story. Go and watch the Cowboys when they drafted him about his dad calling him to say, "Do you want to come play for us in Dallas?" That's a brilliant watch. Really good watch. So yeah, as I said, football kicks off in about 2.5 hours.
Yes.
As Ollie said now, now you can go and watch Hard Knocks because we're just about closing up. So you can go watch Hard Knocks now. Go and enjoy it. If you got any sense, you would have called it like we did. So we'll watch it a bit.
Oh, you'd watched it early.
Yeah, well, yeah. These two are going to be back next week with Mr. Harris. I don't know. As we know, we don't know how Mr. Harris is going to be.
I hope Shane's on. Otherwise, this will turn into 49ers special, won't it?
No, it's going to turn into Undisputed with Baby Bear and Big Papa P.
Well,
I'm going to be Shannon Sharp or Richard Sherman.
God.
And let me tell you something, Skip. Let me tell you something, Skip. Let me tell you something, Skip. It's going to be a great show next week. Shane will be back.
I just want Shane to wear that pink leotard.
We need to get some sort of like 49ers siren that goes off every time we talk about the 49ers.
Oh God, help us! No, what's the the Tampa Bay
the cannon
touchdown. The cannons when it that'll do. That's your warning.
That is quality. That is quality.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying our show. We will be back. Well, they will be back next Thursday, 8:30 live on Facebook.
And we'll have football
Twitter,
to talk
Facebook,
about.
YouTube. Yeah, they'll actually have some football to talk about. And not Johnny Manziel. Although
not spend 20-25 minutes on Johnny Manziel, yeah.
Please, if they do start talking about 49ers, my Twitter account is Ollie SBH, so that's OLLIES. Please let me know and I can go and mute them. Ladies and gentlemen,
I have a mute button too, don't forget.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful week, have a great weekend, stay safe, and good night.